So today we're going to be looking at how to create AWS budget. So why is AWS budget important? Now most people, right, think you just come to AWS Management Console and start building infrastructure. No, it doesn't work that way, right? So for you to begin building infrastructure, you need to actually create a budget. Because in real life, you won't actually understand how much your organization is actually budgeting for cloud infrastructure. For you to actually build an infrastructure and be within that budget timeline, right? You need to actually create a budget so you can actually monitor your infrastructure spend. So let's delve into creating a budget. So the first thing I want to do is to come to your management console and search for budget. So I'll just say budget. So this is budget and it will take me to that service. So let me navigate to that service in another tab. So this is a documentation walkthrough that actually helps you to create a budget with ease, right? So I'll come here. And in my budget page, I'll click on create a budget. So I'll click on create a budget here. Now notice that budget is global, so it means that it is not regional specific. You can create it anywhere. Okay, so in the choose budget type page, I'll click on customize. Okay, then under customize, I'm going to leave it as cost budget, right? So if you want to use a cost budget, it's because of, like I said, you want to monitor your infrastructure cost. So you want to create a budget that makes sure that you stay within your organization's budgeted amounts. Now it is not only your organization where creating budget matters. Okay, now you can also create a budget, right, for your own usage, right? For example, if you're monitoring the cost of how you use AWS services, or if you're trying to learn, okay, so you don't actually overspend and it actually causes a problem for you financially. So you want to actually build a budget, right? So for anything in life, we budget things, government budgets, our daily lives we budget. So you need to actually create a budget when you're in the cloud. So when you click on customize advanced here, under the budget types, like I said, you're going to leave that cost budget. If you want to budget for usage, right, so maybe how you use things like an S3 bucket, then you choose usage. If you want for savings plans, you choose it. If you want for reservation, you choose it. But the most popular budget you're actually going to be using, right, as a cloud solutions architect, as a cloud engineer, is cost budget. Okay, so you're going to leave it as cost budget, and you come down here and you're going to click on next. Now the next thing you want to do, right, is to set up your budget, right? So you're going to scroll down here and you're going to give your budget a name, right? So you do my documentation here. If you come here, you can see that you can give your budget any name, okay? But for me, I'm going to actually give my budget a name, okay? So I'll come here and I'll give my budget let me just say learning budget. Okay, now this set budget amount is the how you want to actually set your budget. Okay, so do you want your budget to be a daily budget? Do you want it to be a monthly budget? Do you want it to be a quarterly budget? Do you want it to be an annual budget, or do you want to customize it? Okay, now for most businesses, they want to use a monthly budget. Now if you're working for an organization, maybe a big organization like Netflix or MoneyPoint, whereby they want to track their budgets quarterly, right? Like a quarter is every 3 months, right? Then you can actually choose a quarterly budget. So if you click choose a quarterly budget, it means you're going to actually track your budget within every 3 months, right? Which makes up a quarter. Okay, so if you choose on it, you click on it, you can choose recurring. So recurring means at the end of that quarter, it's the budget actually starts counting again. Okay, so if you choose recurring, then at the end of, you can see we're in the second quarter, this 2026, we're in the second quarter. So the first quarter was January, February, March. Second quarter is April, May, right? So we're in May and this is the second quarter. So it means that by the end of June, right, our budget is going to actually expire. So if you want a quarterly budget, depending on your organization, then you're going to choose quarterly. So you can choose it to be recurring. So immediately it expires after that quarter, it starts again, or expiring. So expiring means that you want to set when that budget actually expires. So you can be specific, set the particular month you want it to expire, and you're good to go. But in real world, you want to actually leave it as recurring. Now for us, right, we are going to leave it at what, monthly. Again, if your organization is very big, you can choose an annual budget, and you're going to actually, it's going to be yearly, okay. But for us, we're going to leave it as monthly budget, and we're going to leave it as recurring. So at the end of every month, right, at the beginning of a new month, it starts again. Then the budget amount we want to use is going to be a fixed amount. So if you say we want to use a fixed amount, then it means that we want to actually specify an exact amount we want to actually use. All right. So if you say fixed amount, we're going to put the amount. So I'll just come here and put my budget is 0.50. So this is the budget that my organization is saying, okay, this is what we can afford, and we want to actually monitor infrastructure costs with this fixed amount. Okay. Now, alternatively, you can specify your budget amount for each budget period. So if you click on it, you can see we have for different months up to next year. So if you say, for example, your organization is saying, okay, they want to spend like $500 right, in the month of May. Okay, now, and you come here and you come to fill, and you put the starting budget at 500. Okay, and the expected budget growth that your organization is going to be expecting to increase their infrastructure cost, let's say 2%. Okay, and you click on OK, you can see automatically that actually filled in all the months of the remaining year months in 2026 and extending to next year. So by 2% increase, it means that they're going to be paying every month. So you can actually use this, actually plan for yourself, right? But for us, we're going to leave it as a fixed budget. So we want to actually use a particular amount every month for our budget infrastructure. Now the next thing you want to do is that for the budget scope, you want to look at all services, right? You want to monitor all services, okay? Which is the right thing to do, because you don't want to leave any service out of your budget, but you want to monitor everything. Now if you want to monitor specific services, then you can click on this, but for me, I want to monitor all AWS services. So I'll scroll down here. Now unblended cost means that you want to see as your cost is accumulating. So you want to see when you spend 2 cents, you want to see it immediately. When you spend 3 cents, you want to see it immediately. That's what unblended means. Okay, now you can come here and check other types of costs, but for you, it's always good to leave it at unblended. So I'll scroll down here, I'll click on next. Now the next thing I want to do, right, is to set something like an alert threshold. So you click on alert threshold here, and you come down here, you can actually put an amount that can actually trigger you to like something like start monitoring how much you're spending. Okay, so the amount I budgeted is 0.50. Okay, so I can come here and put like an absolute value and say if we get to 0.25, which is half of what we actually specify that we can spend, then send us a message, trigger an alert for us, trigger an alarm. Okay, so you can see actual means when we get to this value, right, I actually get notified from AWS that okay, I've reached like half of how much I want to spend. So I can actually go back to monitor my infrastructure costs and check what I'm actually spending, why I'm spending it, or whatever thing you need to actually check. So I'll leave at this. Now if you go to email recipients, you want to actually put the emails of those that are responsible for your infrastructure spend. So I'll just come here and I'll just put my email. Now in real world, you want to actually put the email of those you're working with, okay, like the auditors, your senior cloud engineer, the manager, the CTO, or whatever, whoever is responsible for the financial responsibility of your organization. So I'll just come down here. Now you can alternatively add SNS, right? So SNS is the simple notification service to actually send you a message when you actually get to this threshold, or you can actually use AWS chatbots. Okay, so all these are alternative, but if you in real world you want to actually use emails so that they can actually, those responsible for the organizational spend can actually get notified about how your organization infrastructure spend is actually faring. Now you can come here, you can click on next. Now the next thing you want to do, right, is that you can review this also. You can see add an action if you want, but I'm not going to add any action. I'll come to next, click on next, then you review everything, right? You review everything. You can see my budget is a very simple budget, and you make sure that it actually corresponds to what your organization want. Okay, so you can actually monitor your infrastructure spend and see that it actually meets your business objectives. So you review it, you can click on create budget. So you can see I've actually created a budget. So it means that whenever, right, I actually this is my budget 0.50, right? So if I get to that threshold of 0.25, right, AWS actually what notifies me, and I actually can come back to my infrastructure to actually see what I'm spending and why I'm spending it. And generally, right, AWS budget allows us to monitor our infrastructure cost. So if you like this video, please subscribe to get more content like this. Thank you.